From Russia's famous Winter Palace, filled with 3 million invaluable historical artifacts, to Windsor Castle and its royal collection worth over £12.6 billion, these palaces are the monuments to royal ambition that continue to captivate millions of visitors each year. Hofburg Palace, Vienna, Austria. In the very heart of Vienna, where the elegant streets of the Innere Stadt wind through centuries of history, there sprawls a monument so vast, so impossibly complex, that it defies simple description. The Hofburg Palace is not merely a palace in the traditional sense, it is an entire world unto itself, a 240,000 square meter conglomerate of 18 wings and 2,600 rooms that served as the Habsburg dynasty's seat of power for an astounding 600 years. To understand the Hofburg is to understand the very concept of imperial inertia. Originating as a 13th century Babenberg fortress, this architectural behemoth grew organically through the centuries, each successive ruler adding their own wing, their own flourish, their own statement of authority. Maximilian Thurr's 1493 expansions birthed the Swiss gate's imposing machicolations. Ferdinand of Fern's Renaissance Schweizerhof added graceful arcades in the 1550s. Fischer von Erlach's Reichsratstract emerged in the 1710s, fusing seamlessly with Juvara's magnificent library. But it was Maria Theresa who truly transformed this fortress into a palace of dreams. Her 1750s yellow and white Michaeler tract gilded the complex in Rococo splendor, her personal apartments becoming shrines to Meissen porcelain and exquisite taste. The luxury that permeates every corner of the Hofburg is simply staggering. The imperial apartments' hall of ceremonies boasts rock crystal chandeliers with 1,500 bulbs of bohemian cut, bathing Gobelins tapestries in prismatic light. The Winter Riding School, a white stuccoed ellipse designed by Fischer von Erlach in 1735, serves as the stage for the legendary Lipizzaner horses, their caprioles and corbettes performed beneath frescoed gods. What makes the Hofburg truly extraordinary, however, is its living legacy. The Spanish Riding School, established in 1572 and designated UNESCO Intangible Heritage, continues to train 70 Lipizzaner stallions in the ancient art of haute école. The imperial treasury guards relics of almost mythological significance, including the 2,600-carat scepter of Charlemagne, valued at approximately 300 to 350 million euros in 2025. With collections estimated at 1 billion euros, the Hofburg remains the beating heart of Vienna, a testament to 600 years of Habsburg ambition. Château de Chambord, Chambord, France. Rising from the misty forests of the Loire Valley like a fever dream rendered in limestone, the Château de Chambord stands as perhaps the most enigmatic royal residence ever conceived. This is not simply a castle, it is a 440-room enigma where Leonardo da Vinci's ghost haunts double helices, where 365 chimneys pierce the Bologna sky, and where the very definition of architectural ambition was forever transformed. The story begins in 1519, when the young and ambitious Francis I commanded the construction of what he called his hunting lodge. But this was to be no ordinary lodge. Entrusted to Mason Pierre Neveu, the project soon attracted the attention of the greatest mind of the age, Leonardo da Vinci himself, who had been summoned to France in 1516. Though Leonardo died in 1519 at Clos-Lucé, his influence proved immortal. Sketches in the Codex Atlanticus reveal his design for the iconic double helix staircase, a helical marvel that allows two people to ascend simultaneously without ever meeting. Construction dragged until 1547 at an equivalent modern cost of 500 million euros, and what emerged was nothing short of revolutionary. The double helix staircase winds 200 steps under vaulted oculi, its treads echoing Da Vinci's earlier designs for Milanese dukes. From the rooftop loggia, 128 meters of facades unfurl with pepperpot turrets stretching toward the horizon. The park itself is a marvel of royal excess. Spanning 5,040 hectares, it constitutes Europe's largest walled forest, teeming with 500 deer and crisscrossed by canals that once supplied carp for royal tables. The Renaissance Gardens, revived in 2023 at a cost of 15 million euros, now bloom with 400 tulips in geometric parterres. Chambord's sorcery lies in its symbolic architecture. 83 staircases meander to 365 fireplaces, palaces, one for each day of the year, representing cosmic order and royal dominion over time itself. Francis I called it his cage for a ladybird, built for mistresses like Anne de Pisseleu. A 2025 cultural audit valued the chateau at an astonishing 434 billion euros, 5 times the Colosseum, making it one of the most valuable cultural sites on Earth. Blenheim Palace, Woodstock, England. In the rolling Oxfordshire countryside, where ancient oaks cast long shadows across 2,100 acres of manicured parkland, stands a monument to military triumph and aristocratic splendor that rivals any royal residence in Europe. Blenheim Palace is not merely a home, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site that crowns John Churchill's 1704 victory at Blenheim with one of the most bombastic displays of Baroque architecture ever conceived on English soil. This is the birthplace of Winston Churchill. This is England's grandest non-royal pile. Queen Anne's 1704 parliamentary grant transformed the Royal Lodge at Woodstock into a 1705-1722 opus by John Vanbrugh and Nicholas Hawksmoor. The project consumed £300,000, equivalent to £50 million today, wrung from reluctant Whig politicians amid Sarah Churchill's notoriously acrimonious oversight of every gilded detail. The luxury that erupts from Vanbrugh's vision is almost overwhelming in its grandeur. The long library, a 55-meter salon, features Hawksmoor's magnificent vaults adorned with the Marlborough tapestries, 300,000 knots of wool silk splendor depicting the Duke's military triumphs. 10,000 leather-bound tomes line the shelves, standing sentinel beside Grinling Gibbon's incomparable limewood carvings. The water terraces, revived in 2022 at a cost of £2 million, jet arcs of water 100 meters into the air via hydraulic rams, while the Column of Victory rises 41 meters, crowned by Rysbrack's bronze depicting the victorious Duke surveying his domain. But Blenheim's true magic lies in its connection to one of history's most consequential figures. On November 30th, 1874, Winston Churchill entered the world in the palace's bow windows, his early croquet games on these very lawns, providing the backdrop for the writing of The River War. The Churchill exhibition now draws 300,000 visitors annually, with interactive holograms recreating his legendary 1940 broadcasts. The palace remains a living dukedom. The 12th Duke maintains 11,500 acres while opening the estate for £41 tickets in 2025. Valuations place Blenheim at £180–200 million, with the treasures worth an additional £500 million. Palace of Caserta, Caserta, Italy. Erupting from Campania's sun-drenched plains like a Baroque colossus summoned from the dreams of kings, the Palace of Caserta, the Regia di Caserta, stands as perhaps the most ambitious royal construction project of the 18th century. This is not merely a palace that rivals Versailles. This is a palace that eclipses it, boasting 47,000 square meters of floor space and 2 million cubic meters of total volume. When Charles III of Spain acquired the Caetani fief in 1750 for 489,393 ducats, he envisioned something unprecedented, an enlightened response to French architectural dominance that would announce Naples as a major European power. He turned to Luigi Vanvitelli, the Vatican's primo architetto, who broke ground on January 20th, 1752, the king's birthday, and proceeded to create what would become a UNESCO World Heritage Site spanning 123 hectares. The opulence begins at the entrance and never relents. The grand staircase of honor, a double helix of white marble echoing Da Vinci via Bernini, spirals 116 steps beneath Pietro Antonio Gasparini's frescoed Triumph of Ferdinand IV. 18th century Murano chandeliers refract light like frozen waterfalls, while the Palatine Chapel's nave gleams with lapis lazuli altars and Fanzago's silver tabernacle. The throne room, a 1770s red and gold fantasia by Fuga, seats 200 beneath Tiepolo-esque ceilings depicting Apollo's chariot in triumphant flight. Period apartments whisper of royal intrigue. Maria Carolina's antechamber displays Wedgwood cameos and Sèvres porcelain gifts from her sister Marie Antoinette. But the park is where Caserta truly transcends imagination. A 3-kilometer axial vista unfurls in Le Notre splendor, culminating in the Fountain of Diana and Actaeon, which jets water 60 meters skyward via the Caroline Aqueduct's 38-kilometer engineering marvel, completed in 1770 with 500 arches defying the Taburno peaks. The palace's cultural significance extends beyond architecture. It served as Allied HQ during World War II, where the Sicily invasions were plotted from its throne room. More recently, it portrayed Naboo's throne room in Star Wars 1999 and hosted chase sequences in Angels and Demons, drawing 1.2 million visitors annually with a 2025 valuation estimated at $500 to $600 million. Caserta remains southern Italy's crown jewel. Topkapi Palace, Istanbul, Turkey. Perched dramatically upon Istanbul's Seraglio Point, where the shimmering waters of the Bosphorus meet the Golden Horn and the Sea of Marmara, Topkapi Palace stands as the ultimate expression of Ottoman imperial splendor. This labyrinthine complex served as the Sultan's nerve center for nearly 4 centuries, a place where Byzantine remnants fuse with Islamic opulence in ways that continue to captivate the imagination of all who pass through its gates. Commissioned by Mehmed II the Conqueror mere months after his legendary 1453 fall of Constantinople. Construction spanned 1459-1465 under architect Kemalettin. What began as a modest kiosk amid gardens soon ballooned under successive sultans. By the 16th century, under Sinan the Great architect's influence, it housed up to 4,000 souls, sultans, concubines, eunuchs, and scribes, administering an empire stretching from Budapest to Baghdad. The treasures within defy comprehension. The imperial treasury gleams with the 86-carat spoonmaker's diamond, a pear-shaped behemoth legendarily unearthed by a fisherwoman who traded it for a spoon, now valued at $30 million alone. The Topkapi dagger, with its 3 emerald-encrusted hilts, carries an estimated worth of $80 million. The harem, a separate ticketed enclave of 400 rooms, drips with Rococo excess. The Valide Sultan's apartments boast Kütahya porcelain stoves for winter's bite, while the Black Eunuch's quarters, once guarded by 200 castrati, feature latticed mashrabia screens veiling the women's world in filigreed mystery. But Topkapi's true singularity lies in its polyvalent soul. The Sacred Trust's pavilion enshrines Prophet Muhammad's mantle and sword, relics that drew Ottoman pilgrims for centuries. The Arms and Armor wing displays 400 blades, from 7th century Abbasid scimitars to gem-encrusted parade yataghans, drawing 2.5 million visitors annually. The palace commands a 2025 valuation of $700–800 million, a figure that barely begins to capture its historical significance. Royal Palace of Madrid, Madrid, Spain. Looming majestically over Calle de Bailen's western flank, the Royal Palace of Madrid announces itself with the authority befitting Europe's largest royal palace. With 135,000 square meters of space and an astounding 3,418 rooms, this Bourbon colossus rises from the ashes of a 9th-century Alcazar fortress, destroyed by fire in 1734 in one of history's most devastating cultural losses. The story of that fire has become legend. Jean Rance's studio blaze threatened to consume Velázquez's masterpiece Las Meninas, saved only through the heroic act of window toss heroism. From this destruction rose a phoenix. Philip Fee's 1738 commission brought Chuvara's Bernini-esque vision to life, realized by Sacchetti amid the privations of the 7 Years' War. The luxury cascading through these halls is simply breathtaking. The San Agustin marble grand staircase, designed by Sabatini in 1789, ascends 70 steps flanked by Castro lions, with Giacinto's fresco. Religion protected by Spain, swirling overhead. The throne room's Tepolo ceiling, apotheosis of the Spanish monarchy, 1772, spans 1,200 square meters of allegorical deities amid Barbadian bronzes. What makes this palace truly unique is the Stradivarius room, which enshrines the world's sole complete quintet, a viola, 2 cellos, and 2 violins from 1700's Cremona, beneath Bayeu's Providence fresco. The Royal Armory dazzles with Charles Fear's Mühlberg armor and Negroli's etched shields. The pharmacy's Talavera jars still brew Philip II's ancient elixirs. The Salon Gasparini exemplifies Bourbon opulence, a Moorish Rococo fusion of jasper, lapis, and silver that served as Ferdinand VI's antechamber. Today, it stands as a jewel box of Islamic-inspired arabesques that reminds visitors of Spain's complex multicultural heritage. As Spain Spain's ceremonial heartbeat, site of Juan Carlos' 1975 balcony oaths and Felipe VI's 2014 ascension, the palace continues to vault imperial memory into the present, its Sabatini Gardens providing a cypress-shaded oasis for modern visitors. Schönbrunn Palace, Vienna, Austria. Cascading down a terraced hillside in Vienna's Hietzing district, Schönbrunn Palace represents the absolute apotheosis of Baroque architecture, a 1,541-room Habsburg hymn to enlightened absolutism that has witnessed 3 centuries of European history unfold within its gilded walls. This is where Maria Theresa transformed a hunting idol into an imperial stage. This is where Franz Joseph drew his final breath in 1916. This is Austria's soul rendered in yellow, ochre, and gold. The story begins in 1569, when Maximilian II purchased the Katterberg Mill as a pheasant-stocked hunting retreat. Eleonora Gonzaga's 1640s editions christened the site with its name, Beautiful Spring, but it was Maria Theresa's 1740s-1750s reinvention by Nicola Picassi that crystallized its splendor, transforming a wedding gift into a UNESCO Gesamtkunstwerk spanning 160 hectares. Opulence radiates from every surface. The 174-meter-wide facade with 52 monumental windows frames the great parterre's sculpted bosquets and the magnificent Neptune fountain, Giovanni Giuliani's 1675 Triton spouting spectacle with water jets arcing 20 meters. The 60-meter gloriette of 1775, Maria Theresa's triumphal arch glorifying just war, commands Vienna's skyline from its hilltop perch. The interiors orchestrate imperial theater at its finest. The Hall of Mirrors, 40 meters of candelabra-lit elegance, witnessed 6-year-old Mozart's harpsichord debut in 1762. Maria Theresa's Rococo chambers pulse with chinoiserie lacquers and Meissen porcelain. Her intimate breakfast cabinet whispers of silk-upholstered mornings. The Burgel Room's landscape murals blend exotic flora with Habsburg symbolism, verdant fantasies for private retreats. The Tiergarten, the globe's oldest zoo, 1752, parades Habsburg menageries in Rococo pavilions. The Palmen House, 1882, Ferdinand von Sax's iron and glass conservatory, nurtures tropical ferns amid Art Nouveau filigree. Drawing 3.8 million visitors at its peak, Schönbrunn stands as the summer Versailles of the Habsburgs, 300 years of evolving tastes from hunting lodge to enlightenment salon. Windsor Castle, Berkshire, England. Sprawling across 13 acres in Berkshire's sylvan embrace, Windsor Castle holds a distinction that no other royal residence on Earth can claim. It is the world's oldest and largest continuously inhabited castle. For over 1,000 years, through invasions and civil wars, through fires and revolutions, this fortress palace has cradled 40 monarchs since William the Conqueror's 1070 Motte and Bailey imposition. The castle's origins are military. William built it as a Norman gauntlet overlooking the Thames, designed to quell Saxon unrest amid Windsor Forest's ancient oaks. But over the centuries, fortress gave way to palace. Edward III's 1350-1377 overhaul cost £51,000, medieval England's costliest secular project, birthing its Gothic soul and enshrining the Order of the Garter in St. George's Chapel in 1348. The luxury that unfurls within these 1,000 rooms is staggering. The Grand Reception Room's 100-foot Rococo expanse boasts Gobelins tapestries and a Lebrun-inspired ceiling of swirling clouds. The Crimson Drawing Room's 62 gilded trophies, Grinling Gibbon's oak and lime armorials, gleam like captured sunbeams. St. George's Chapel, fan-vaulted in limestone filigree, serves as the final resting place of Henry VIII and Charles I. The Albert Memorial Chapel, 1863-1873, dazzles with Scott's mosaics, Tricchetti's bronzes, and Salviati's opalescent tiles, a marble mausoleum born from Victoria's inconsolable grief. What makes Windsor extraordinary is its living significance. The castle harbors treasures from the royal collection, valued at £12.6 billion overall, including Vermeers and Rembrandts. The Great Kitchen's 14th century undercroft, 193 feet of vaulted stone, once roasted 500 swans for medieval feasts. The 1992 fire ravaged 120,000 square feet, but birthed remarkable restorations, including St. George's Hall's hammerbeam roof, the largest green oak span since 1486. Valued at £743 million, Windsor remains the spiritual hearth of British monarchy, inspiring the 1917 House of Windsor rebrand and hosting the 2023 Coronation Concert's 20,000-strong revelry. Winter Palace, St. Petersburg, Russia. On the banks of the Neva River, where Baltic winds sweep across granite embankments, rises a monument to autocratic excess so vast, so impossibly opulent, that it seems to have been conjured from pure ambition itself. The Winter Palace, now the Hermitage Museum, evolved from Peter the Great's modest 1711 lodge into a 233,345 square meter behemoth housing 1,500 rooms, 186 doors, and 117 staircases. The current Elizabethan Baroque masterpiece was completed in 1762 under Elizabeth by Francesco Bartolomeo Rastrelli at a staggering cost of 2,500,000 rubles, funded by wartime taxes on taverns and salt. Catherine the Great's 1764 Hermitage wing transformed it into a private gallery, beginning a tradition of voracious collecting that would create one of the world's great museums. Luxury permeates every cornice and column. The palace's 30-meter-high principal facade stretches 215 meters, gleaming with gilded stucco and pediment statuary. The Jordan Staircase, a Rococo whirlwind of white marble and gilded cherubs, once hosted Epiphany baptisms in the frozen Neva. The Malachite Room, 1839, shimmers with 24 tons of Siberian malachite and jasper panels, a verdant shrine for diplomatic receptions. The collection housed within comprises 3 million artifacts, rivaling the Louvre's scope but infused with Russian soul. The military gallery arrays 332 portraits by George Daw of Napoleonic War heroes. Canova's marble Psyche Revived by Cupid's Kiss, 1793, captures eternal embrace, while Leonardo's Lida Madonna radiates maternal glow amid Rubens' fleshy bacchanals. History has left indelible marks. Bloody Sunday, 1905, saw petitioners rebuffed at its gates, igniting revolution. The October Revolution of 1917, Red Guards storming its gates, immortalized in Eisenstein's 1928 film, democratized its vaults. The palace survived the 872-day siege of Leningrad with hidden masterpieces. Drawing 3.5 million annual visitors, the Winter Palace stands as Russia's window to Europe. Peter the Great's Enlightenment dream realized in stone. Louvre Palace, Paris, France. And so we arrive at the pinnacle of palatial grandeur, a monument so extraordinary, so laden with history and art and architectural innovation that to call it merely a palace seems almost inadequate. The Louvre stands as an unparalleled emblem of opulent grandeur, a 72,635 square meter labyrinth that has evolved over 8 centuries from medieval fortress to Renaissance masterpiece to the world's most visited art museum. The story begins in Blood and Iron, originally constructed between 1190 and 1220 under King Philip II to defend Paris against Anglo-Norman incursions. The medieval foundations, visible today in the basement crypt, evoke the raw power of feudal defense. But it was Francis I in 1546 who ignited its Renaissance rebirth, commissioning Pierre Lescot to overlay the fortress with elegant Italianate facades. This shift heralded an era where the palace became a canvas for monarchical extravagance, housing Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa, acquired in 1517. The architectural symphony is simply breathtaking. Claude Perrault's Colonnade Wing, 1677-1674, introduces a revolutionary east facade of paired Corinthian columns, a modernist break that shocked contemporaries for its audacity. I.M. Pei's iconic glass pyramid, 1989, a 21-meter crystalline beacon, fuses futuristic minimalism with historical gravitas. The Galerie d'Apollon boasts gilded stucco, lapis lazuli inlays, and a 14-meter ceiling fresco of Apollo's chariot, though temporarily closed following the October 19, 2025 heist that stole 8 crown jewels worth $102 million. The collection defies comprehension. 615,197 objects spanning prehistory to the mid-19th century across 8 departments make it a veritable time machine. Egyptian antiquities house 50,000 pieces, including the seated scribe with its eerily lifelike inlay inlaid eyes. The Venus de Milo, her armless torso a poignant evocation of Hellenistic perfection, draws millions of admirers. President Macron's January 2025 Grand Louvre plan allocates 800 million euros for renovations, including a dedicated Mona Lisa gallery by 2031. Ticket prices for non-EU visitors will rise to 32 euros from January 2026, a 45% increase. And the valuation? The building alone at luxury rates approaches 6 billion euros. But with the collection's 35 billion euro insurance value, conservative auction estimates suggest potentially 200 billion euros. The total eclipses $100 billion. The Louvre Palace is not merely the most expensive palace in the world. It is, quite simply, priceless. From China's 70 billion Forbidden City, where 24 emperors ruled across nearly 10,000 rooms, to France's 50 billion Versailles, with its iconic Hall of Mirrors, some palaces are so extravagant they're worth more than the GDP of entire countries. We're talking thousands of rooms, priceless art, and luxuries you'd never imagine. Today, we're counting down the most expensive palaces in the world, each worth billions. The Forbidden City, Beijing, China. Let's begin our journey in the heart of Beijing, where stands what many consider the crown jewel of palatial architecture, the Forbidden City. With an estimated value of $70 billion, and this isn't just the world's most expensive palace, it's arguably the most expensive single architectural complex ever created by human hands. But to understand why the Forbidden City commands such a staggering valuation, we need to journey back over 600 years to when this magnificent complex first began to take shape. Constructed between 1406 and 1420 during the Ming Dynasty, the Forbidden City served as the imperial palace for an incredible 24 emperors over nearly 500 years, witnessing the rise and fall of dynasties, the ebb and flow of power, and the transformation of China from a medieval empire into a modern nation. The name itself, Zijincheng, or Purple Forbidden City, tells a story of absolute power and divine authority. For centuries, unauthorized entry into this sacred space was punishable by death. This wasn't just a palace. It was considered the earthly dwelling of the Son of Heaven, the Chinese emperor, whose very presence was believed to maintain the cosmic balance between heaven and earth. What makes the Forbidden City's 70 billion valuation so extraordinary isn't just its size, though the numbers are mind-boggling. We're talking about a complex that spans 72 hectares with 980 buildings and 9,999 rooms, a number chosen deliberately to symbolize imperial perfection, as only heaven could possess 10,000 rooms. The land value alone, situated in Beijing's prime central district where prices reach $27,000 per square meter, totals 9,066 billion. But here's where the story becomes truly remarkable. The contents of the Forbidden City are valued at over 50 billion, making it not just a palace but one of the world's greatest treasure houses. Imagine walking through halls where every surface is adorned with priceless artifacts, where jade ornaments worth millions of dollars are displayed as casual decoration, where silk tapestries that took master craftsmen years to create hang like wallpaper. The architectural genius of the Forbidden City lies in its perfect embodiment of traditional Chinese design principles. Every element follows the ancient philosophy of feng shui, with buildings arranged along a precise central axis that reflects the cosmic order. The symmetrical layout aligns major halls, creating a sense of harmony that visitors describe as almost mystical. The yellow glazed tile, roofs that catch the sunlight and seem to glow with inner fire. These weren't just beautiful, they were symbols of imperial authority, as yellow was the emperor's color, forbidden to all others. The interior spaces of the Forbidden City are divided into two main sections, each serving a distinct purpose in the elaborate theater of imperial power. The outer court, where state ceremonies unfolded, centers around the Hall of Supreme Harmony, the largest hall used for coronations and major events. Picture the scene: hundreds of officials in silk robes prostrating themselves before the Dragon Throne, while incense burns and ceremonial music echoes through halls designed to make mere mortals feel insignificant in the presence of divine authority. Then there's the inner court, the private world of the imperial family, where the palace of heavenly purity served as the emperor's residence. These weren't just living spaces, they were stages for the most intimate dramas of power. power, where empresses schemed, where succession was decided, where the fate of a nation often hung on whispered conversations in rooms lined with priceless art. Today, the Forbidden City attracts 14 to 19 million visitors annually as the Palace Museum, making it one of the most visited museums in the world. But even as tourists flood through its courtyards, the palace retains an aura of mystery and grandeur that money simply cannot buy. Palace of Versailles, Versailles, France. While the Forbidden City impresses with its age and cultural significance, Versailles dazzles with its sheer opulence and the audacious scale of its creation. The palace's historical construction cost is equivalent to $50.7 billion in today's money, making it one of the most expensive building projects in human history. But Versailles is more than just an expensive palace. It's a monument to the absolute power of the Sun King, Louis XIV, and a testament to what happens when a monarch decides that no expense is too great to demonstrate royal magnificence. The story of Versailles begins not with grand ambitions, but with a simple hunting lodge. Originally built by Louis XIII in 1623, this modest retreat would be transformed by his son into something the world had never seen before. When Louis IV decided to expand his father's hunting lodge starting in 1661, he wasn't just building a palace, he was creating a tool of political control. By moving the court from Paris to Versailles in 1682, the Sun King forced the French nobility to live under his direct supervision, turning potential rivals into dependent courtiers who competed for his favor rather than plotting against his rule. The scale of this transformation is breathtaking. The finished palace spans 63,154 square meters with 2,300 rooms, but it's the quality of those rooms that truly staggers the imagination. The crown jewel is undoubtedly the Hall of Mirrors, a 73-meter-long gallery with 357 mirrors that reflects light from 17 arched windows, creating an effect that visitors describe as walking through liquid light itself. But why mirrors? In the 17th century, mirrors were among the most expensive objects that could be manufactured. Venice held a monopoly on high-quality mirror production, and a single large mirror could cost as much as a warship. By lining an entire gallery with hundreds of mirrors, Louis XV was making a statement about French wealth and power that resonated throughout Europe. The Hall of Mirrors wasn't just beautiful, it was a diplomatic weapon, designed to intimidate foreign ambassadors and demonstrate that France could afford luxuries that other nations could only dream of. The palace's Royal Opera, a theater with intricate woodwork and gold leaf, represents another level of royal extravagance. Completed in 1770 for the wedding of the future Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, this theater could be transformed from an opera house into a ballroom in a matter of hours, with a floor that could be raised to the level of the stage. The engineering required for this transformation was so advanced that it wouldn't be matched until the 20th century. The state apartments, including the king's and queen's apartments, adorned with paintings, sculptures, and tapestries, tell the story of daily life in the most formal court in Europe. Every moment of the royal day was choreographed, from the lever, the king's morning rising ceremony, to the coucher, the evening retiring ceremony. The bedroom where Louis XIV slept wasn't just a private space. It was a stage where dozens of courtiers gathered each morning to witness the king's awakening, a ritual that reinforced his divine status. The 800 hectares of manicured gardens, designed by André Lenotre, represent landscape architecture on a scale that boggled the minds of contemporary observers. These weren't just gardens, they were outdoor rooms, each with its own character and purpose. The famous fountains, which operate to this day, required engineering innovations that pushed the boundaries of 17th century technology. The problem was simple. Versailles sits on a plateau with no natural water source capable of powering such elaborate fountains. The solution was the construction of the Machine de Marly, a massive water pumping system that was considered one of the engineering marvels of its age. But perhaps the most poignant aspect of Versailles is how it became a symbol of the excess that ultimately led to the French Revolution. The palace, that had served as the seat of absolute power for over a century, became a prison for Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette when revolutionary forces compelled them to leave in 1789. Today, Versailles hosts 15 million visitors annually, serving as both a monument to royal grandeur and a reminder of the cost costs of extreme inequality. While Versailles dazzled with gold and mirrors, the next palace rose from ashes, its true power hidden not in what it shows, but in what it survived. Tokyo Imperial Palace, Tokyo, Japan. Our journey now takes us to the land of the rising sun, where ancient traditions meet modern realities in the Tokyo Imperial Palace. With a land value estimated at $11.25 billion, this palace represents a fascinating fusion of historical significance and contemporary urban economics. But what makes the Tokyo Imperial Palace truly extraordinary isn't just its astronomical value. It's the story of how a nation's identity survived devastating war and emerged transformed yet unbroken. The palace's story begins in the feudal era, when this site was home to Edo Castle, the seat of the Tokugawa shogunate that ruled Japan for over 250 years. But the transformation from feudal fortress to imperial residence came with one of the most dramatic political upheavals in Japanese history. The palace became the imperial residence in 1869, after the Meiji Restoration moved the capital from Kyoto to Tokyo, marking the end of the samurai age and the beginning of Japan's transformation into a modern nation. The original palace, a magnificent structure that embodied centuries of Japanese architectural tradition, was destroyed in the most devastating air raid of World War II. On the night of May 25, 1945, American B-29 bombers reduced much of central Tokyo to ashes, and the Imperial Palace was not spared. But from this destruction came rebirth. The current palace, completed in 1968, was designed by Junzo Yoshimura, one of Japan's most celebrated architects, who faced the challenge of creating a structure that honored tradition while embracing modernity. What Yoshimura created is nothing short of architectural poetry. The palace combines modernist design with Japanese influences, using steel-framed reinforced concrete with large gabled hipped roofs, columns, and beams that echo traditional Japanese architecture while incorporating the latest construction techniques. The use of domestic woods and stones creates a connection to the Japanese landscape that runs deeper than mere aesthetics. It represents a philosophical approach to architecture that sees buildings as part of the natural order rather than impositions upon it. The palace's interior spaces reflect this same philosophy of harmonious synthesis. The Seiden, State Function Hall, used for official ceremonies, and the Homeiden, State Banquet Hall, that hosts diplomatic banquets, showcase a design aesthetic that somehow manages to be both thoroughly modern and unmistakably Japanese. The residential areas feature tatami mats and traditional coffered ceilings, creating spaces that could have been designed centuries ago, while Western-style parquet floors and furnishings in public spaces acknowledge Japan's position as a global power. Perhaps the most striking feature of the complex is the Tokagakudo Music Hall, an octagon-shaped hall with mosaic tile decorations built in 1964-1966. This building, designed by Kenji Imai, represents the optimism of 1960s Japan, when the country was preparing to host the Tokyo Olympics and demonstrate its recovery from the devastation of war. The hall's unique octagonal design creates acoustics that are considered among the finest in the world, making it a favorite venue for both classical Western music and traditional Japanese performances. But what makes the Tokyo Imperial Palace's $11.25 billion valuation so remarkable isn't just the buildings, it's the land itself. Set within a 1.15 square kilometer park in the heart of Tokyo, the palace grounds represent some of the most valuable real estate on Earth. During Japan's economic bubble of the 1980s, the palace grounds were theoretically worth more than all the real estate in California combined, a statistic that perfectly captures the surreal nature of that era's asset inflation. The palace is surrounded by elements that survived the bombing and connect it to its historical roots. The moats and stone walls from the Edo period create a sense of continuity with the past, while the carefully maintained gardens provide a green oasis in one of the world's most densely populated cities. These gardens aren't just beautiful, they're a living museum of Japanese landscape design, with species of plants and trees that have been cultivated for centuries. The imperial family's private residence, the Fukiage Palace, Palace, added in 1993 by Shozo Uchi, represents the latest chapter in this ongoing story of architectural evolution. This building, which serves as the emperor's primary residence, combines traditional and modern elements in a way that reflects contemporary Japan's comfortable relationship with its past and its future. While Tokyo's worth lies in the billions, the next palace holds a value you can't put a number on and reflects the royal legacy. Buckingham Palace, London, United Kingdom. While its estimated value ranges from 1.6 billion to 4.9 billion, what makes Buckingham Palace truly priceless is its role as the living, breathing heart of one of the world's oldest continuous monarchies. The palace's story begins not with royal ambition, but with aristocratic ambition. Originally built in 1703 as Buckingham House for the Duke of Buckingham, this elegant townhouse was designed to be impressive but hardly palatial. The transformation began when King George III acquired it in 1761 for Queen Charlotte as a private retreat, known then as the Queen's House. It was here that 14 of their 15 children were born, beginning the palace's long association with royal family life. But it was George IV who had the vision and the ego to transform his father's comfortable retreat into a palace worthy of a king. Beginning in the 1820s, George IV commissioned John Nash, one of Britain's most celebrated architects, to create something magnificent. Nash's vision was grandiose, a palace that would rival Versailles in splendor while maintaining a distinctly British character. The project was so expensive that it nearly bankrupted the royal treasury, and Nash was eventually dismissed when costs spiraled out of control. The palace truly came into its own when it became the official royal residence in 1837 under Queen Victoria. Victoria, who would reign for 63 years and give her name to an entire era, understood that monarchy in the modern age required both grandeur and accessibility. She opened the palace to public scrutiny in ways that previous monarchs had never contemplated, while simultaneously expanding it to accommodate the growing needs of the royal household. The palace's 775 rooms include architectural spaces that have witnessed some of the most important moments in British history. The 19 staterooms aren't just beautiful, they're stages where the drama of constitutional monarchy has played out for nearly 2 centuries. The throne room, with its dramatic canopy and thrones used for coronations, has hosted ceremonies for monarchs from Queen Victoria to King Charles III, each coronation marking a new chapter in the ongoing story of British royalty. The Picture Gallery, a 55-yard-long space with masterpieces by Rembrandt, Van Dyck, Rubens, and Vermeer, represents one of the finest private art collections in the world. But calling it private is somewhat misleading. These aren't just possessions of the royal family, but are held in trust for the nation. The royal collection, valued at $12.6 billion, includes artworks and treasures accumulated over centuries, making the palace not just a residence, but a repository of British cultural heritage. The palace survived its greatest test during World War II, when it was bombed 9 times by the German Luftwaffe. Rather than fleeing to safety, King George VI and Queen Elizabeth, later the Queen Mother, remained in London, sharing the dangers faced by their subjects. The famous photograph of the royal family inspecting bomb damage at the palace became an iconic image of British resolve during the war's darkest hours. The East Front, with its iconic balcony added in 1850, has become one of the most recognizable architectural features in the world. This balcony, where the royal family appears during moments of national celebration and mourning, represents the unique relationship between the British monarchy and the British people. From VE Day celebrations to royal weddings, from jubilees to state funerals, this balcony has been the stage for moments that have defined British national identity. The palace's role as a working royal residence sets it apart from other royal palaces around the world. This isn't a museum that happens to have royal inhabitants. It's a functioning seat of government where state banquets host visiting heads of state, where investitures see the monarch award honors, and where receptions bring together dignitaries and public figures from around the world. While Buckingham Palace stands as a symbol of royal tradition, our next stop is a 4.6 billion skyscraper that redefines royalty itself, not through lineage, but through luxury. Antilia, Mumbai, India. Our journey now takes us to modern India and a palace that represents something entirely new in the world of luxury residences. Antilia, the private home of billionaire Mukesh Ambani, with its estimated value of $4.6 billion, isn't just expensive. It's a vertical palace that redefines what a private residence can be in the 21st century. Rising like a modern temple above Mumbai's skyline, Antilia is a 27-story, 400,000-square-foot skyscraper that serves as home to one of the world's richest families. But to understand why this building exists, we need to understand the story of modern India itself. Mukesh Ambani, chairman of Reliance Industries, is one of the architects of India's economic transformation from a closed socialist economy to a dynamic capitalist powerhouse. Antilia isn't just his home, it's a symbol of India's arrival on the global stage. The building's design, inspired by the lotus and sun, reflects ancient Indian architectural traditions while embracing cutting-edge modern technology. Built between 2006 and 2010, Antilia represents a collaboration between international design firms and Indian craftsmanship that perfectly captures the spirit of contemporary India. The interiors, designed by Hirsch Bedner Associates, use luxurious materials like crystals, marble, and mother-of-pearl, creating spaces that manage to be both opulent and surprisingly intimate. What makes Antilia truly extraordinary is its amenities, which read like a list of everything a billionaire could possibly want. The 168 car garage across 6 underground levels houses one of the world's most impressive private car collections, including multiple Rolls-Royces, Mercedes Maybachs, and custom-built vehicles. But it's the 50-seat private theater that really captures the imagination, a cinema that rivals the best commercial theaters in the world, where the Ambani family can screen the latest Bollywood blockbusters or Hollywood films in perfect comfort and privacy. Perhaps the most famous feature of Antilia is its snow room that produces artificial snowflakes. In a city where temperatures regularly exceed 35 to 95, a room that creates winter weather on demand isn't just luxury, it's a technological marvel. The engineering required to create and maintain artificial snow in Mumbai's tropical climate represents the kind of over-the-top thinking that makes Antilia so fascinating. The building's ballroom hosts lavish events that have become legendary in Indian society. These aren't just parties, they're cultural events that bring together Bollywood stars, business leaders, politicians, and international celebrities. The Ambani family's celebrations, particularly weddings, have become spectacles that capture global attention and showcase Indian culture and hospitality on an unprecedented scale. The controversy surrounding Antilia begins with its very foundations. The land, previously an orphanage, was sold for $10.5 million in 2002, sparking legal challenges that continue to this day. Critics argue that the sale violated Waqf regulations, while supporters point out that the Ambani family followed all legal procedures. This controversy reflects broader tensions in Indian society about wealth inequality and the responsibilities of the ultra-rich. But Antilia is more than just an expensive house. It's a vertical city designed to be completely self-sufficient. The building includes multiple swimming pools, a spa, health center, temple, and terrace gardens that create an oasis high above Mumbai's crowded streets. The 9 high-speed elevators are necessary because the building's extra high ceilings make it equivalent to a 60-story building, while 3 helipads provide private air transportation that bypasses Mumbai's notorious traffic. The top 6 floors are private for the Ambani family, designed to withstand magnitude 8 earthquakes and featuring security systems that rival those of government buildings. The unique design ensures that no 2 floors share the same materials or layout, creating a sense of discovery and surprise as visitors move through the building. If Antilia is a symbol of personal power in the age of billionaires, our final stop is a reminder of what happens when national wealth is poured into royal tradition. Istana Nurul Iman, Brunei. Our final destination takes us to the small but incredibly wealthy nation of Brunei, where the Sultan's palace represents the ultimate expression of oil wealth transformed into architectural grandeur. Istana Nurul Iman, with its construction cost of $1.4 billion in 1984 and current estimated value of $34 billion, holds the Guinness World Record as the world's largest residential palace, but its significance extends far beyond mere size. The palace's name, meaning Palace of the Faith Light, perfectly captures its role as both a royal residence and a symbol of Brunei's Brunei's Islamic identity. Commissioned by Sultan Hassan al-Bolkiah and completed in 1984, the palace was designed to mark Brunei's independence and demonstrate the nation's prosperity to the world. The timing was perfect. Oil prices were high, Brunei's economy was booming, and the Sultan wanted to create something that would establish his nation's place on the global stage. The palace's designer, Filipino architect Leandro V. Locsin, faced a unique challenge: how to create a building that honored Islamic and Malay architectural traditions while incorporating modern amenities and technology. The result is a structure that manages to be both timeless and contemporary, with gold-plated domes and intricate Islamic patterns that reflect Brunei's cultural heritage while housing some of the most advanced building systems in the world. The scale of Istana Nurul Iman is almost incomprehensible, with 1,788 rooms spread across 200,000 square meters. The palace is larger than Versailles and the Vatican combined. But it's not just the size that impresses. It's the attention to detail that makes every space feel purposeful and elegant. The 257 bathrooms aren't just functional spaces but showcases of craftsmanship, with marble, gold, and precious stones creating environments that redefine luxury. The banquet hall, which can be expanded to accommodate 5,000 guests, represents diplomacy on an unprecedented scale. When the Sultan hosts state dinners or religious celebrations, the palace becomes a stage for soft power, demonstrating Brunei's wealth and sophistication to international visitors. The hall's ability to transform from an intimate dining space to a vast ceremonial venue shows the kind of engineering precision that went into every aspect of the palace's design. Perhaps the most spiritually significant space in the palace is the mosque that can accommodate 1,500 worshippers. Akas, this isn't just a private chapel, but a full-scale place of worship that serves both the royal family and the broader community. The gold-plated domes that crown the mosque can be seen from across Brunei's capital, serving as a constant reminder of the Sultan's role as both political and religious leader. The palace's 110-car garage houses one of the world's most extensive car collections, including rare Ferraris, Bentleys, and custom-built vehicles that exist nowhere else. But even more unusual are the air-conditioned stables for 200 polo ponies, which reflect the Sultan's passion for equestrian sports and his commitment to providing the best possible care for his animals. The palace's 564 chandeliers and 51,000 light bulbs create a nighttime spectacle that can be seen from space. During religious festivals and state celebrations, the palace becomes a beacon of light that symbolizes Brunei's prosperity and the Sultan's benevolent rule. The electrical systems required to power this display represent a significant engineering achievement, especially given Brunei's tropical climate and the need for reliable power in a region prone to severe weather. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of